Dark Minds, which has just landed on Netflix, and it's a true crime series, but it's about crime from the Middle East.
Do you know if they have the episode on Refaei and Skina? Have you ever heard of them? That's the most famous that I know of. I'm sure many Arabs know of Refaei and Skina. So Shannon Doherty, who was the star of Beverly Hills 90210, the really massive cultural famous show.
I just remember her being so beautiful. I definitely dyed my hair dark, during Charmed.
Yes.
Her and her friends just re-watch old shows.
Yeah.
And they've been watching Gossip Girl again. And so I imagine there's a lot of younger people out there discovering.
A lot of people now are wearing a lot of clothes that are very 90s coded, you know, with the baggy jeans and the tight tops and the way they do their makeup.
So my culture bite for this week is the bear.
Bergdorf blondes are a thing, and you're crazy. So
I'm hooked.
You're hooked.
I'm hooked. Hello and welcome everybody to today's show. Today we're going to be talking about an Arabic true crime series.
And the sad passing of Shannon Doherty, the star of Beverly Hills 90210, and Art Dubai's new fair starting this November, Editions Dubai.
This is Culture Bites coming to you from the National Newsroom here in Abu Dhabi. I'm Enas Refaei.
And I'm Maan Jalal. Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
We have to say that Farah's not with us today because she's really sick. So sending lots of love and chicken soup.
Yes, salam tich, which means hope you feel better. Hope you feel better. Health, yes. But lots of stuff is going around. I was sick a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I hope you're not going to be with us next week.
I'm not going to be here for a while because I'm going back to London. I'm going back to London.
You excited?
Excited doesn't actually fully explain how excited I am. Is there a bigger word than excited?
It's a bit offensive, but sure.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
But are you excited about not having an air conditioning vibe in the house with the heat?
Look, I think I need to just go back and experience all those things and then
realize how good you have it here.
Yeah, yes. And then miss the things here. But right now I'm just so homesick. Oh. Do you get homesick? You're such an international kid.
Am I? I don't know. Dubai's home. New Zealand's home, but I don't know. I mean, I miss my family over there, but no. I'm homesick. I'd get homesick if I was not here. In this office right now. No, I'm kidding. No, in the UAE.
I hope our boss is watching. Yeah. No, do you not get homesick? So here's home then for you.
No, they're both home.
Okay.
But I don't. I mean, what is homesick? What does it mean? Do you miss London, city?
Yes. Okay. I get so homesick that it's I'm sat on a red bus and writing poems about London.
See, I get that about if I'm not in Dubai for a long time. I really miss Dubai as a city.
You start writing love poetry about Dubai.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Or I look at photos of the Burj Khalifa.
Oh my God, that's so cute. Okay, so I'm a bit like that. I'm I miss the smell of London, all the smells. Yeah. Ew. And then I'm I miss, I really want to, I can't wait to go here. And then I'll see so-and-so and...
But because how long have you been here now?
It's been a year since I've been back to London, which is a long period of time.
It'll be interesting because I was like that when I first moved back here. But then a year or two after I went back, I was I didn't have that feeling.
Oh.
So maybe you won't realize that you're...
Over it.
You're not over it, but the things that you really like about here might
not be there.
No. The things that you like about Dubai will be greater than the things that you so dislike about London. So you'll be there and you'll be the smell, the people, the crowds. In Dubai we don't. In Dubai or in the UAE or Abu Dhabi we don't. So you'll be I just want to get back,
I'm sure it'll get like that. But right now I'm really excited. I'm going to meet my nephew for the first time.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
No,
he was born
you
a while
both had
ago.
Farah also had
I
a nephew,
know,
yeah.
but I haven't been able to go back to see him.
What's his name?
Zenedine.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and he is a little brother to my niece, Jamila.
Oh, nice.
Very Arabic names.
Yes, very Arabic names.
I know.
So it's cool. Your daughters now have cousins.
Yeah.
Well, they had a cousin before, but yeah.
They have other cousins as well. My husband does have a family.
Okay, but we don't talk about them.
We don't talk about them.
Yeah. So you have been watching something that I have absolutely no inclination to watch.
Yeah, so this is not your kind of thing.
It's not my vibe, but you will educate me because it's an interesting topic to discuss in a bigger picture way.
Yeah, so I really wanted to speak about this because someone mentioned it in one of our many editorial meetings. Dark Minds, which has just landed on Netflix, and it's a true crime series, but it's about crime from the Middle East. So I was tick, 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 tick.
Because you're a crime person. You're a crime girly.
I just love documentary series. That was like a background for me was I used to make like short documentary series in the UK. So I was like really excited to see one that was from the crimes of our
Region?
like, where we come from. Yeah. And I know like, I have to admit, I did skip forward just to the episode that was based in Jordan. So I started watching just one, which was about this crime duo, and they were like around in the 90s, and their name was Bilal and Suzanne, and they were like went on a crime spree in Jordan, Zarqa, which is like on the outskirts of Amman, and then Amman itself, the capital. And it was just about basically the first ever known serial killers of
So
Jordan.
they were serial killers, not like a Bonnie and Clyde situation.
And then like while you're watching the documentary, you're like, oh my God, actually, wait, were they serial killers? Because somebody else then confessed to the crime. It unfolds. It unfolds. Like I really recommend the series. So we spoke about this and confessions to everybody who listens to our show, because we were like, yeah, we're going to talk about this amazing new series. It's amazing. I was watching it, and then my husband comes into the room and is like, oh, what are you watching? I was like, oh, I'm watching, Dark Minds, which is this Netflix. It's all about Arabic crimes. He was like, oh, great, I'll sit down. He doesn't speak Arabic. I went on Netflix, just like, I'll put subtitles on. No subtitles.
Oh, you're kidding.
And there's no dubbing. So even though we're telling you to watch this, watch it if you can, or you're interested in learning Arabic.
Yes, exactly. Or if you have an Arabic friend.
Yeah. He managed to find...
That's a bit short-sighted. They
I
should
know.
have had the subtitles.
So this is kind of a bit of a plea, I think.
To
like
Netflix.
We've left it in here as a bit of a plea to Netflix to translate it. Please
Add subtitles.
Add some subtitles. I've seen there's some really good blurbs online, but it's just really fun to watch like one of those classic murder mystery kind of style documentaries with all the reenactments, but all the reenactments and all of the like cutaway B-roll shots, all taken on the kind of like downtown streets of Amman. Like there were like shots of pigeons in cages. Whoa.
To really show you the texture of the city.
Yeah, really texture.
Are they serious, scary criminal things?
Yeah,
Okay.
like one of the crimes that was committed, and like still like, I mean, they were convicted of all these crimes, so they're convicted killers. And I'm a journalist, and that's what happens when someone's convicted. They're convicted. End of situation.
However,
like towards the end, they're still like, are they? Were they? It's kind of like interesting. But some of the crimes were really scary because in the Middle East, and they
why are
talk
you
about
saying
this,
it with a big smile on you?
because I don't know why everybody likes to feel something, man. You know, I'm not the only woman out here who loves to feel like scared. I don't know why we do it. I don't know why we do it, but loads of people in general, I'm not going to just say women, but loads of people love true crime because it taps into this kind of like this fear factor that you grow up with, and then you realize it's a bit of reality, and it's kind of like, oh.
Well, a lot of people have been like criticizing the genre because it's gotten so huge. I think it's like the biggest genre in podcasts, as well as lots of books about crime and the dark underbelly of society and murder and all this kind of stuff. But a lot of the documentaries are being criticized for sort of sensationalizing the crime and kind of taking advantage of the victims and advantage of the victims' families. As somebody who has no interest in this genre whatsoever, I'm curious to ask you whether you think that is the case sometimes, that it is a bit sensational and it is kind of taking the...
Yeah, and
Mickey.
I think because there is like there is obviously that thing where they think that some people do the crime to gain fame or notoriety. So you kind of are feeding this like horrible underbelly.
And the machine. I remember years ago, Rolling Stones put on their cover one of the school shooting in America, the terrible school shootings, the shooter. They put him on the cover of Rolling Stones. And I remember that was a big deal. Like, why are you putting this person on the cover of the magazine? Like, it's kind of, sensationalizing it and making other people who have the same mental issues, like it glorifies it.
It glorifies it. I think you're right. I think there is an issue, and we also had that song as well. Just Another Manic Monday.
Oh,
and that was like, it was by Bob Geldof. They sung that. And it was just about like this girl who was like the first mass shooter, one of the first mass shooters. She walked into a school, her workplace, and then she just shot everyone. And then when they asked her why she did it, she said, I just don't like Mondays.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the story.
Yeah. Anyway.
Eerie.
Really eerie. Yeah. Look, all of these things are eerie. They kind of remind me though to lock my door at night, to take a bit of precautions here and there. Even though I have moved to one of the safest countries in the whole wide world. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fun to see the layers of society sometimes. You're like, oh, there's these really dark undertones.
What I gather, though, from all these shows is that generally anybody can do a crime. Like, we have in our heads, it's like, oh, the criminal is like a boogeyman and they're scary and they're like, they might have a scar on their face or they look like a James Bond villain. But actually,
it's way scarier because they're normal.
Anyone, a psychopath can just be anyone.
Yeah.
They can just be like a complete normal person and they just do insane things. And actually, I think that's a good thing because I'm really against this idea of the trope of villains in movies and shows and books to look disfigured. Like, I hate that. I think there's this really amazing writer in the UK called Jen Campbell.
Yeah.
And she always discusses this point, especially in Halloween. She's like, if you want to be a bad person, don't have a disfiguration because it's just perpetuating this trope that bad people are physically disfigured. So I think shows like Criminal Minds, serial killer stuff just remind us that actually no, bad people just look like normal people.
That's very true.
Yeah.
There's also this thing as well, like I think that we like to see the world in kind of like this Disney way, right? Of like, there are bad people, there are good people. Generally speaking, most people are like murky.
I mean, look, unless you're a serial killer, I think you're
not like a serial killer.
Pretty bad.
You're probably pretty bad, but like most people are like not good or bad, are they? Most people are just.
Yeah. Do you know if they have the episode on Refaei and Skeena? Have you ever heard of them? That's the most famous that I know of. I'm sure many Arabs know of Refaei and Skeena. They're like two Egyptian women who I think were like the first known serial killers in Egypt, and they would lure women and I think some men. And they would pretend they were beggars, and then they would kill them and take their money. And there's a whole show about it, a series about it, like a fictionalized series. It stars Abla Kamel, who's a really famous Egyptian actress, and Samaya Khashab, who's another really famous Egyptian actress, as them. And it's sort of become like part of Arab vernacular. Like when you see two sisters or two best friends that are up to no good, you'd be like, oh, Refaei and Skeena, Like it's kind of it's become part of culture. So I wonder if they have an episode, because they're like the most infamous.
Let me see.
The most infamous. Yeah, look on your phone.
I look at my phone. Look at the Netflix series. Well, the thing is I think that what you do get this overwhelming sense of.
Because it's each episode's about a different Arab country, different.
But I would say, or different, different criminals. But what I do find fascinating is you think about how big the Middle East is.
Huge. 22 Arab countries, technically.
Yeah, there's not that many. Everyone chill out.
No, there's not that many what?
There's not that many, serial killers.
Oh, okay. that we know of.
That we know of. But in the on the Jordanian episode, they did talk about the fact that because of tribal culture and family pressure, people generally speaking, it's quite low crime.
Interesting.
As well.
Right.
Anyway, fascinating series. So if you're interested in Arab true crime, Middle Eastern true crime, check it out. Dark Minds.
So on to something a bit sad.
This is really sad.
Yeah. So Shannon Doherty, who was the star of Beverly Hills 90210, the really massive culturally famous show, and also she was in Charmed, which was also a massive show in the late 90s, early 2000s. Huge. So she passed away a couple of days ago. She's been very open over the past couple of years with her battle with breast cancer, and I think it had spread, and she always knew it was sort of inoperable.
Yeah.
And she's been very open about her feelings about dying. She's also been talking about what she regretted during her career and how she wished that she had. She also brought to light actually a lot of stuff that actors have to deal with if they're a part of a union and the insurance of being sick when you're an actor.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of her journey.
I just remember her being so beautiful. I definitely dyed my hair dark, during Charmed.
Yes.
All the girls were dye their hair dark, wear chokers.
Yeah.
Maybe I even wore fake contact lenses.
The whole look.
I was fully into that look.
She was definitely a vibe. Her characters that she always, specifically from Charmed and Beverly Hills 90210, she was the rebellious, not even rebellious, strong, opinionated, not going to take from anyone kind of character. She was very strong-willed, and that also came out a lot in her it was also reflective of her as a person. And what was really interesting is seeing all of the contributions, what's the word? All of the other celebrities
Impact.
talking about her. Like, I didn't know she was best friends with Sarah Michelle Gellar, aka Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I mean, all the witches.
Yeah, all the witches, all the supernatural
all
girlies.
the ghouls.
Yeah, and all the Beverly Hills 90210 stars have been coming out, like
Yeah.
Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth have been coming out with statements about the impact she had on
Popular culture.
on their life, you know, like as friends.
And like also like 2 huge shows which were like so teen.
Yeah, I think I really want to talk as well about how important Beverly Hills 90210 was. It was one of the first, I mean, I was 10 or 11 when that show came out. It was one of the first shows that my parents were like, you are not allowed to watch this. You know?
Really?
Yeah, because it was the first show that dealt with teenage angst and teenage drama that wasn't all like happy. It wasn't Saved by the Bell. It wasn't Full House. It wasn't Sister Sister. It was like...
Biker Grove.
Huh?
Grove.
I don't know. Is that a British show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, I don't know.
Grange Hill, Biker Grove.
Okay.
This was the British equivalent. They're very grey.
Oh, okay. Equivalent to Beverly Hills 90210?
No, let's just leave it at that.
Okay. If you know, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going down a hole right now.
Okay. But yeah, Beverly Hills was dealing with like all of these teenage issues in a very realistic way that wasn't all tied up in a nice, pretty bow. And Shannon Doherty's character of Brenda was really like the most important character, especially in that first season, and particularly her relationship with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Dylan, who was played by Luke Perry, who also sadly passed away a few years ago. So their relationship was really like the Rachel and Ross of that time. And if it wasn't for that Beverly Hills 90210 show, they wouldn't be Dawson's Creek. They wouldn't be OC. They wouldn't be Gossip Girl. They wouldn't, like, they really created the blueprint for rich teenagers with problems.
Oh,
you know?
what a beautiful genre.
What a beautiful genre, right? And all thanks to Aaron Spelling, who is the father of Tori Spelling, who was Donna on Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah.
So it was a really important cultural moment that showed that she was on. Like, I don't think people understand how famous, how huge she was when that show came out. And what that show did to that particular genre. Like, we wouldn't have half the shows that we have now if it wasn't for Beverly Hills 90210 and the zip code. We all know 90210.
Yeah.
Like, do you know
and that's the Beverly Hills zip code, right?
Yeah. Do you know the zip code for Utah? Do you know the zip code for New York? None of us do. We know 90210 just because of that show. It just became so much part of culture.
It's like E17.
Is that also a British?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out so many.
I think you're just getting excited about going
back to London. I think that's what it is. I'm so excited about going to London. So there was a boy band called East 17, and they were from East London, which is the postcode is East 17. E17. It's okay. We're all learning here, man.
Yeah.
We're all learning here.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't need to learn that. Is it Beverly Hills?
I'm like, back to Beverly Hills.
You're like, is East London and Beverly Hills the same thing? No.
But you know, also I was going to say about Shannon Doherty is that she left Beverly Hills a bit earlier than everybody else. Like, she left under like strange circumstances. And she had this quote unquote like reputation for being a bit difficult to work with, which she wasn't. It was just that she was very opinionated and she knew her value as an actress. And people thought that Shannon Doherty's career was kind of over after she left Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Because she left, I think, after the second or third season, like very randomly. But then when Charmed came about, it kind of regenerated her career and she became a household name again. That show was huge.
Huge.
So she starred along with Alyssa Milano. And then she again left Shannon Doherty, I think, after the second or third season, and she was replaced with Rose McGowan. And what was really interesting is that a lot of people thought that Rose McGowan and Shannon Doherty were sort of, not enemies, but they were sort of pitted against each other because technically Rose McGowan had replaced Shannon Doherty on the show. But actually, Rose McGowan wrote this very beautiful tribute to Shannon Doherty on her Instagram and said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing here, like, for an industry that tried to pit us against each other, we ended up becoming like the best of friends. Aww. And so it just shows you again that this image or this persona that we have of who Shannon Doherty was as projected through the media, particularly in the 90s when she first became famous, 2000, it was like so negative. And
it was such a toxic time for women in the public eye, right?
Exactly.
I think it was like 90s and the noughties. Such a toxic time. So I think that they, like, if you were a bit outspoken, it's funny that word outspoken, right? So it means you just spoke. Like, what does I'm outspoken. Oh, so she speaks.
She speaks. She has an opinion. And she was definitely one of those actresses that had really important things to say, I think, about the industry, about her career, about how she didn't want to be pigeonholed anywhere in any sort of particular role. So if you've never seen Beverly Hills 90210, I really recommend you watch it. It's a really great show.
This is like something people are doing now as well. Like we had like some young whippersnapper intern recently, and she was just talking about how she's her and her friends just rewatch old shows.
Yeah.
And they've been watching Gossip Girl again. And so I imagine like there's a lot of younger people out there discovering Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah, well, 90s nostalgia is a real thing. Like a lot of people now are wearing a lot of clothes that are very 90s coded, you know, with the baggy jeans and the tight tops and the way they do their makeup. So,
that's what you look like on the weekends.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, me too. Just crop tops and baggy jeans.
If you want some fashion inspiration, definitely 90210, Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah. And we're back. Hi.
What'd you say?
And we're back.
Oh, okay. I thought you called me Maan. That's what my that's what my nephews call me. I was like,
can I call you Maan?
You can, sure.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Art Dubai. Is this an expansion, do we say?
Well, Global Art Dubai Group, which owns Art Dubai and Dubai Design Week, yes, Dubai Design Week, have announced that there's a new fair that's happening in November, and it's called Art Dubai Editions. So how is this different from Art Dubai? How is it different from Dubai Design Week? It's basically a special fair that's happening between November the 6th and November 9th in D3, and it is showcasing interesting new editions of artworks, prints and special editions of artworks from the region by regional artists that are coming at a more reasonable accessible budget.
Accessible. They're affordable.
Budget. They're affordable.
Well, when we say affordable, I'm sure it's like
I prefer the word accessible.
Accessible.
So accessible prices. So if you're somebody, I mean, we talked about this before when I wrote an article about how you can start an art collection with an annual budget of 10,000 dirhams a year, which I think is very reasonable. This is the kind of place you need to go to because you not only have quality artworks by quality artists, you have over 50 galleries that are going to be there who know what the trends are, who know what the artists are, who knows what the works are, and that can educate you if you're interested in buying art and start collecting art about why you should buy or why you should start collecting particular pieces from particular artists. And it's also a great way to just educate yourself about the different kind of artists that will maybe in a couple of years be bigger, be more well-known. It's like a great entry point into starting your art collecting journey.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about going. Although I do like the way that like some of the arts that's been mentioned is like ceramics. I can't imagine spending a lot of money on ceramics. I'll get broken.
Well, ceramics can be walls on a plate. What? Plate on a wall. They can be plates on a wall.
Yeah.
Which
I'll get broken. I've got kids.
I mean, but you have. I mean, are your daughters quite boisterous? Are they kicking balls on the?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
You haven't met Ada.
Okay.
Whew.
Well, yeah.
But
maybe ceramics is not for your home.
But anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so it's like in ceramics, prints, paintings, drawings. I'm a big fan of drawings. It's always cool to get drawings.
I love drawings. Yeah, like a really lovely sketch.
Yes, and something tiny. You can also get something tiny.
Yeah, that you can just take anywhere with you.
But
Beautiful.
and even if you don't want to buy art or you're not ready to buy art, it's just a cool thing to go to with your friends and family. Like, check out art, meet artists, see other people that are there, like get into the vibe.
So when will it run?
November the 6th to the 9th in Dubai Design District D3, which is one of my favorite spots. Have you been?
I've been. Yeah.
Yes, it's one of my favorite spots in Dubai.
It's really nice.
We should go. Nice. Yeah, we should go. It has one of my favorite cafes as well, One Life Cafe. It's a really good cafe. And I love the design of the buildings. They have these beautiful geometric kind of ornamentation on the glass buildings that I really like. Anyway, I think it's a really underrated spot in Dubai. Okay. Even though everyone knows D3 in Dubai. And it's a really up-and-coming area as well, Maidan, that whole area.
So anyway, it's running from November the 6th to the 9th. And it's alongside Dubai Design Week, which is really exciting. So we're going to move over now to something else. We are trying to do this new thing where we recommend something from our own culture bite.
Like what's happening in our lives.
Culture bite.
Yes. What we've been experiencing or watching or reading, consuming, noticing across the medium. Yeah.
So my culture bite for this week is The Bear, which is a
I've
series.
heard a lot about this show.
It's on Disney Plus, and it's a great series. It's about a man who's kind of like trying to become a Michelin-starred chef in his own like family kind of run business. It's very shouty, it's high octane. It's the latest series to just come out, so you might have been watching it from before. If you haven't, go back, start at the beginning, and then bring yourself forward. But it's really, really fun. I actually had to stop watching it the other day because it's so high octane. I always have this fantasy that I could work in a kitchen and that I would be really good at working in a kitchen. Like, you know, I was saying to the producers earlier that like, I'm such an Anthony Bourdain. I'm so cool, right? I mean, if I had a penny. Anyway, so I was just like, oh yeah, I could work in a kitchen. I could work in a kitchen, smoke a rollie out back, be really cool. But I couldn't.
No.
I watching
High
them.
pressure.
Watching them do it, I had to take a break. I was like, guys, let's pause this.
My first job was a kitchen hand.
Really?
Yeah, in an Italian restaurant in New Zealand, and I lasted 2 months. I was like, what is this?
Was
like,
that your
it's
shortest
intense.
ever lived job?
No, actually, I lied. Before that, I worked as, what do you call those people that throw the newspapers in the house?
A paperboy.
Paperboy.
You just
and
threw them in houses.
I lasted a day.
One day.
One day because in New Zealand, the roads are like this. And I had a bike and it was raining and I went and I fell and I was like, you know what? No.
This isn't for me.
This is not.
Drop me out.
Yeah, I'm out. So that was it. That's how but isn't it interesting? I started in newspapers and here I am working for a newspaper.
See, just another side of a
just
newspaper.
Just another side of a newspaper. From paperboy to podcast journalist. So, yeah. So my recommendation is not a show. It's a book.
Yes.
Can you read that?
No, because the microphone's in the way.
Okay. Bergdorf Blondes by Plum Sykes. Published by Bloomsbury.
I love the cover.
It's great, right? Black and white on yellow.
Oh, sounds so familiar.
Feels familiar.
Feels familiar. Let's wait until that's
secret
been
project.
Announced. Secret project for us.
So Plum Sykes was an editor for Vogue, and I think she worked with Anna Wintour, Vogue America. There's some really interesting interviews on her online, actually, when she was working at Vogue. But this was, I think, her first novel after she left Vogue, and it's basically set in the early 2000s, I want to say. And it is about a woman she's like the fashionista girl of the 2000s. And she's like obsessed with like all of the brands that we know.
Manolo Blahnik.
Yes, and like Chloe jeans, right? So she's British, but she lives in New York.
Yeah.
And she's basically part of this like idea of the Bergdorf Blondes. Bergdorf is the big shopping center, like not shopping center, like big department store, like what's that British one called?
Oh, what? Harrods?
Yes, it's like the Harrods of New York, and she's very much in the inner circle of the upper class socialites of New York.
Wow.
And she's really in there, and she's like this really interesting fashionista socialite girl, and her boyfriend breaks up with her. He's like a well-known photographer, and she's like, okay, what am I going to do with my life now? Like, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm living this glamorous life. Like, what do I do? So it's so fun because it's written in the first person narrative, and the voice of the character is really like, really compelling and addictive. And she's a very smart girl. I mean, usually I hate this presumption that if you're a girl that's really into fashion, you're not smart. But she's a smart girl who has like an English degree from Oxford. And works in New York.
Sounds like a legend.
It's yeah. It's just a fun, interesting read with a great voice about a particular time that was not that long ago, 20 years ago, in New York. And yeah, so it's just.
Can I borrow it?
For sure.
Have you finished it?
I have like a quarter left. What I will do though,
if you just finish that,
is I will read you guys the first sentence because I always judge whether I should buy a book.
Is that how you buy a book? Not by its cover?
No, not by its cover. I will I'll read the first sentence, and if I like the first sentence, I'll read the first paragraph, and I'll be like, yeah, this is the winner, or I'll put this back on the shelf. So I'll just read the first sentence.
Okay.
Bergdorf Blondes are a thing, you know, a New York craze. So
I'm hooked.
You're hooked.
I'm hooked.
So yeah, definitely check it out.
I'm definitely going to check that out. I do need a little bit of a holiday read.
Yeah, because you're... Yeah.
Did I mention?
Did you mention?
Did I mention I'm going back to London? Did I even say?
Actually, I think it's available also on Audible. So if you don't want to read, you maybe can have a listen.
You know I love an audiobook.
Yes.
I've been listening to The Courage to be Disliked at the moment.
Which?
The Courage to be Disliked. It's
the
like
courage to be disliked. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. That's like a
it's like
self-help.
yeah. Oh God, I'm definitely revealing too much about myself today. Let's just leave it.
Okay.
I think
But wait, do you
I need
now
a holiday?
But do you now have the courage to be disliked?
I don't think I do. No. Do I like being liked? Doesn't everybody like being liked?
I don't know. Chanel once said, "What you think of me is none of my business." So that's a great line to live by.
I think maybe it depends on who it is. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. We want you guys to like our podcast. So
thank you so much for listening to today's episode.
If you like this episode, please follow us and subscribe, and tell all your friends and network about it, and follow us on social media. Bye.
Bye.